Impactainment Studios with your host, Edmund. I am super excited to do this live stream with you guys. This is actually my first live stream talking about the Christian faith. We're talking about things that pertain to the Christian faith. And so I am thrilled. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to talk about certain things and I'll relate it to our daily our daily life, and it'll be something that is applicable to you, something that you can find meaning from. And before I dive deep into all of that, I just want to say, hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do that. That will really mean a lot to me and the team, and we can go ahead and continue to do a lot of good stuff with that. All right. So today's discussion is talking about faith, right? Faith is super important in the Christian faith. In Christianity, right? Let's say Christianity so we don't overlap the two. But faith is super important because it is everything that defines Christ and Christians. That's the currency, right? So on earth, our currency is money, right? In the United States, the currency here is a dollar, the US dollar, right? But in heaven, or with Christians, that heavenly currency is faith. Faith is that heavenly currency. And so, with faith being that heavenly currency, it means that everything that we do, the way we think, the way we speak, our convictions, our desire, our actions has to be led and ordained through faith, right? And when we read the Bible, what does the Bible say about faith? Faith is the evidence of things unseen, right? And so if you say faith is the evidence of things unseen, it means that reality could be telling you something different, right? But faith says, even though your reality is saying that this is what it is, you should have a different approach to this. Reality says this is a negative. Reality says this is impossible. Your reality says it can't be done, right? But faith says you should absolutely say the exact opposite. Um, let's see. Dawn says I'm from the UK. Wait, I'm from the UK. Have you ever seen any UK television? Yes. It's been a while since I went to the UK. Actually, it's been a while. Maybe I'll go back this year. But if you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. So with faith being the evidence of things unseen, that means that we have to try as much as possible to always make positive confessions. Positive confessions. King Vaughn, welcome to the channel. Positive confessions. And I want to start by saying another thing I want to say is if you look at our daily life, everything is rooted in fear, right? Everything is rooted so much in fear. Everything you look around you, there's so much fear. Everybody's afraid of something, and it could be just the most inconvenient thing, and people are already scrambling about it, right? The weather, right? People are so scared of, you know, a little change in the weather that they go up to the grocery store and they buy up the whole store. I watched the video and the dude bought like 6 jugs of milk. Like, why are you buying 6 jugs of milk for just a weekend? Really? Right? And so you see that a lot of people make their decisions based on fear, and a lot of people make negative confessions. A lot of people make confessions that are rooted in fear, and the opposite of faith is fear. Melis, welcome to the channel. Nectar says, "Do you believe in Jesus Christ?" Absolutely, absolutely, I believe in Jesus Christ. He is my Lord and personal Savior. He's the one that saved me. He's the one that has made my life what it is. And I hope you do as well, right? And so, once again, faith is the evidence of things unseen, right? Everything that we see is going to be against that, right? Our daily struggles, things that we go through, are all most of the times is going to be negative. We live in a negative driven society. How do we know this? Well, look at the news. Things that are negative spread way faster than things that are positive. Rarely do you hear of good stuff online. With relationships, with financials, with all of that. Everything you see online is rooted in fear. It makes you afraid. It makes you skeptical. It makes you not trust people. It makes you scared. And God is saying through his word, God is basically telling us that we should not be afraid. We should walk in faith. Faith says, even if my situation doesn't seem like it, I'm still going to make a positive confession. I'm still going to say that this outcome can be different. Megan says, I like and subscribe. Thank you very much, Megan. Um, Nectar, you're gonna have to talk to me separately about that because that's a different conversation for this. That's a little different. But I just want you to know that I want you guys to hear me out when I say this. Your life is going to be better. Your life is going to be so well. You're going to do great things in your lifetime. You're going to achieve so much. It is possible and it will be done. You're going to be happy. You're going to be successful. Whatever it is that you're looking for, if you're looking for, more money, if you're trying to start a business, you're trying to get married, you want to have kids, whatever it is that you're, doing, you're going to find fulfillment and you will be content, right? I want you to believe this. I want you to accept this. Um Laura says today's my birthday. Happy birthday, Laura. Please go ahead and subscribe as well. Nectar, go ahead and subscribe. And just click on my profile, click on the link as well. And I've got some good stuff over there. We can talk over there. I want you guys to understand that you are going to have a great life. You are going to have a great life. However, it is dependent on the way you speak to yourself. How do you talk to yourself when you have negative situations? What is your go-to? What is your remedy? How do you solve these negative issues and these instances when they come about? Do you rush to fear? Is fear the first thing that, like, as soon as you're feeling something negative, you confess it and you believe it and that's it? On whose account would you believe? On whose account would you believe? And the reason why this is so important and the reason why this is true is because if we always go with the things that are negative, if we always go with the things that are just as is, we are never going to do anything in our lifetime because everything we see is just going to keep us afraid. What happens when we let fear stop us from doing the things that we feel like we're called to do? What happens when we feel like we let fear stop us from achieving our dreams and our goals and we're scared and we don't take those risks? We live miserably, and no matter the other things that we do, we still feel like there is like an emotional void. And while we're on this subject, I want to say something. I want to say something really controversial but very important. I want you guys to know that there's a certain level of emotional peace. There's a certain level of emotional strength and capacity. There's a certain level of emotional fulfillment that you will never have until you walk in faith and until you do certain things that you know you're called to do. Sometimes we let fear stop us from achieving our dreams and our goals, or even trying, attempting to do something great. We let fear stop us from doing those things, and it creates a void on the inside where we go through life, we forget about those dreams and goals and visions, we forget about it, and we just go do our own thing. but we still feel like we're lacking something. We still feel like we're we're lost. And the reason why you feel that way is because you're not doing what you need to do. You're letting fear stop you. You're letting fear stop you. There are more people that are afraid than there are more people that are sick. And there are more people that have died from fear than the ailment or the sickness killing them. That is crazy. That is crazy, right? And so if we let fear stop us from doing the things that God has given us power and strength to do, we're going to live unsatisfied lives, right? And on that note, while I speak, there's a troll in here saying some really crazy stuff. I just want to address you real quick. I want to give you the attention that you don't seem to have on in your life. I don't know if you don't get it from your parents or whatever, but you can do better than that. You can do better than that. So you just got your 2 minutes of fame, and I'll go back to the live stream. I'm talking about you, Noah. You just got your 2 minutes of fame. So once again, I want you guys to know that you are more than capable. You are going to do great things, but let your life be fueled by faith. Jonathan, I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while. Let's connect. Let's connect later. If you're not subscribed, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Um, but yes, I want you guys to understand that faith is important. It is paramount, and you are going to be successful, right? But don't let the situations, don't let the things that happen to you make you live in fear. Make you live in fear because nobody ever does anything great when they live in fear. Fear keeps you, fear traps you, fear makes you anxious. You start overthinking things, you start overthinking everything. And when you overthink, you don't act. When you overthink, you have this situation I call pause paralysis, where you're just stuck and it's like you're trying to make a move, but you're like still there in one position. And that's what fear does to you. Most of the people, most of the people that have done great things and are succeeding in life aren't really succeeding at life because you're super intelligent or super smart. Yes, some of them are, but most of them are succeeding because they overcame fear. They did it even when they felt fear, even when they felt something telling them not to do it. Jim Smith, I'll be honest with you, greatness is subjective. That word great is subjective. So whatever you think is great is a definition for that. The same thing with success. The same thing with success. Someone says, so what unlocks intelligence? Knowledge, reading. Reading books is very important. Another thing I did actually this morning, around 2 a.m., I woke up, I was doing some meditation. The average individual never does self reflection, right? And so, wisdom, you're asking what unlocks intelligence. By the way, make sure that you've already subscribed to the channel, please. One thing that unlocks intelligence is self reflection. Self reflection. Self reflection unlocks intelligence because you are forced to think about your life. You're forced to think about your past. You're forced to think about your present. You're forced to think about the future. And through that, you're making plans. You're going through certain things. You're analyzing certain decisions. You're looking at your decision making, right? And you're making sure that you won't repeat certain mistakes. That brings transformation, right? Self reflection brings transformation. So does knowledge. Knowledge can come from reading, it can come from watching movies, listening to podcasts, it can come from taking counsel from people that have gone ahead of you. Those things help you attain intelligence. So when you read books, reading brings transformation, right? Knowledge is power, and knowledge brings transformation. And knowledge can come from reading, right? So reading brings transformation. So the more you read and then you execute, the stronger you become, right? Think about it like this. It's a building block, right? And so the more you try something, the better you get at it. So if you have an idea and you act on it, chances are high that the next time you have another idea, you're going to act on it, right? Because you already did. Someone says, how do you get rid of anxiety? I want to start by saying this because this is something I've actually thought about, right? Don't ever take a pill for anxiety. Don't ever take a pill for anxiety, right? Because it's an internal issue. It's not a wound. It's not like a sore or something that you have in your hand where you can put a plaster or you can take a pill for anxiety or something like that. It doesn't work like it's such a scam. It's an internal issue rooted in worry, rooted in a situation where you are you're overthinking something or you haven't really sat inwardly to think about something. And I want to use myself as a personal example. I want to use myself as an example so that you can really get the point I'm trying to make. This morning I was up really early, around 2, 3 a.m., and I couldn't go back to bed. I started overthinking something. My heart was heavy, my chest was heavy, right? And instead of brushing the situation off like, oh, get out of my head, you know what I did? I stayed silent and I started having a conversation inwardly. I started having a conversation inwardly. A lot of people are afraid of that. A lot of people are afraid to have conversations inwardly. When you feel something so heavy, it sits on your chest and it's bothering your mind and you can't get it out of your head, you have to sit with it. What you do is bring your mind and your heart to the table. You have to reason with your heart. You have to reason with your heart. Question the way that you feel. Why am I feeling the way that I feel? Why am I so anxious? What am I thinking about that is making me so anxious? Then start dealing with it. Start going back. Just retracing. And you see that you can find the root cause of the issue, right? Until you know the root cause of the issue, you're going to be on pills and it's never going to end, right? There's something that is causing that anxiety and you need to find out what that is. Everybody's situation is different. Well, everybody's situation is different. It's not a one pill that can solve everything, right? It's not a one pill that can solve everything. So today, for example, today when I was up early, I had this internal issue that I was dealing with, based on one of my relationships, and I just started backtracking. I'm thinking, why am I feeling this way? What is the essence of this? Is this a valid emotion? Is this real? Is this true? If you can do this, right? If you can do this, half your problem is solved. And the reason why I say this so confidently is because a lot of people do not like to confront their problems. A lot of people do not like to confront their problems. A lot of people think that by just ignoring the situation and ignoring the issue, it's going to go away. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that. You have to address the issue.